Ladies and gentlemen, brand new, exciting project right now. Graham's Paul Bowe, and you have basically come from Federal Charm and now created something completely new, exciting, which is already starting to heat up and create a lot of noise in the industry and on mainstream radio. Tell me about the story. What's gone off? Why no Federal Charm, and why are you here right now?
Oh, a lot to say. So basically this came from the ashes of Federal Charm, which, disbanded in 2019. Fantastic experience, life-changing experience, I'd say. Did things that, never imagined, but we had a few lineup changes, and I think we had to really, to recover from that and get a new singer and drummer in was probably the biggest challenge, and probably the best thing we did, because, we were flat on our faces basically after that with the last album, Passenger. And we got, it propelled us up the ladder a little bit further. But internally there was a few issues that couldn't be, not resolved, just as bands are, there are some things that you just cannot get past, and we did our very, very best. Everybody in there was super talented. We had, it was fun if anything else, but there was something fundamentally not right at the core of it that, needed to be kind of put to rest. So that was the kicker. It took me a while to kind of regroup, regather from that, and, playing the guitar, writing songs was every day, all day for a decade. And then of the studio business and the session work and the recording studio that I work in, that took off through the pandemic. It accelerated beyond belief. Touch wood, it was a godsend, because it kind of refocused me on another part of the industry. I put the guitar away in this case, stopped listening to music for a bit, as you do, and just kind of distance myself from it, just to kind of clear my head. Pandemic kicked in, lockdown. Everybody had the same problems. Everybody had to shut down, and there was obviously uncertainty. But then me and Sam meeting each other 18 months ago, completely out of the blue, when we just discussed, hey, it would be good to work with you. I've always wanted to work with you. He said the same to me. I said the same to him. We'd already known each other for about 10, 12 years from the scene. And he was in, a very successful outfit called Glass Tide. And we just kind of sent a demo back and forth. And within a day, I was a bit reluctant, because I didn't want to go, once I get into it, I go full steam ahead. And he sent me the vocals back on a track that I'd written at the end of Federal Charm that I shelved. It was literally just on a 16 track, and I recorded all the music for it. And I just thought, I said to myself, if I'm coming back out again, I know this is going to be the one, this track. However it comes about, I know it's going to be. And he did it, and he blew me away with the vocals, and it reignited a fire in me to get back out there to start thrashing out songs. And me and him just got very quickly, every time we come in the studio, we'd have a Tuesday, and it'd be like our little date night. It'd be like, right, okay, that's right. So, and we'd come out with a riff, tune, a melody, and it was just very, very fun, and it made me feel like I was back in the process again. And we looked at each other and said, let's go for it, let's do it. His songs have got great content. He's writing very meaningful stuff, current stuff. His lyrical content is immaculate, and it made me enjoy it again. And we're here. We put the first song out last month, and it's just blown up.
It has blown up, and it's getting played on all the major airwaves, what it needs to be. And you've got a sound that has been said, it's like the Black Keys, Royal Blood. I'd say a bit little Thin Lizzy in there, bit of the 70s and 80s aura, but not too, this has been done again kind of material. Was there any doubt in your mind to think, right, which direction are we going to go with this sound? Because this has been done before. We've just come out of this pandemic. We need something to go with a bang. What made you feel the way what you did with the vocal and the guitars and the sound to go the direction you have?
Yeah, well, it was discussed. It was a subject of how do we want to pitch it? What is it? There's two ways of thinking. It was either A, just right for the, your historical fan base, and for example, Federal Charm was very much in the classic rock vein. It ticked like a Zeppelin, Thin Lizzy, Free, Rival Sunsy vibe, and I love all that. I grew up with all that, and that's why Federal Charm was such a passion project. But in terms of Grams and having to remold that sound, Sam isn't from that cloth. He has a very eclectic taste. So, and there's only two of us in the band. So, to answer that question, because 50% of the band has a much more eclectic, not poppy, kind of leniency. It's more like, it was more songs. It was more a contemporary way of approaching it, and I was interested in different sounds and trying to make the guitar sound a little bit more interesting, the vocals to be more, I don't know, not contemporary, because we're not looking at anybody in that influence, but to be more accessible to a different demographic. We just wanted to, tap into maybe a younger market, because we do like the Royal Bloods, we do like the Black Keys, the Rackons, we do like the Queens of the Stone Age, etc. Massive fans of these bands, and I think we were unable to, in my previous band, but unable to tap into those riffs and those moods. And with Sam, it gave me the ability to pull out these old songs and say, well, yeah, we can hit that modern sound and experiment and not overproduce it. With Federal Charm, it was more raw. It was Les Paul into a Marshall stack. With Grams, it was a little bit more refined, a little bit more experimentation with sounds, which I've never done before. So that's why you get that kind of a little bit more of a contemporary mix.
Yes. I'm gonna, and again, with the songs then, just touching on the songs, are these the songs like you've just, said, these are songs that you've had lying around with Federal Charm, and you've brought them to the table and says, this is completely my new idea, and you've revamped the songs, or have you just kept it exactly how you've shown the Federal Charm guys and gave it to Sam?
I never gave it to Federal Charm guys. As soon as it was the last thing I did, it was supposed to be, I distinctly remember writing these songs. I had a studio in Stockport called Viaduct Studios in an old mill where we used to rehearse. And we got bought out. The pandemic shut the business down. Yeah. And then secondly, we got told to leave. I then spent about 3 weeks in this one room with a 16 track. This is it just after Federal and just before I got kicked out, writing 11, 12 songs. And it was those songs. So it was just after Federal without any lyrical ideas. Wow. So whatever they were just literally, I will never forget it. I went in every day, 8 a.m. and I left at 8 p.m. and I just mic'd everything up and just literally, it was like what do they call it? It was
like resurrection.
It was like an outpour. Yeah, it was like an outpouring. I've not experienced it since. Actually, like I was literally writing, and I was enjoying it. And I was getting like adrenaline rushes from all these ideas, and I can never capture that, and that's where Shut Up a Second came from in that batch. And I've got another 10, 11 left on this 16 tracks, so whatever comes off Grams now, you'll hear a lot from these demo bits and parts from that heavy, intensive writing period I had.
Oh, it's great stuff. And between you, you've got the experience. You've been there. You've played the big stages. You've played the big occasions. So you're not going to be too overly worried about that kind of audience because you've been there and done that, and you can build on that. But how are you feeling with starting again and trying to grab this new fan base? Do you think that the fans of you both will follow this project? Has that been the kind of vibe you've got going on, or are you literally building this from the ground again?
I think the latter. I think it. I adore the fans the diehard Federal Charm fans that were there. I mean, they kept the shit afloat, and met some beautiful people. But when yourself, these, when you get into a band definitively like that, it can be hard to kind of swallow what the person does next. And I'll be honest with you, I've had very, very good feedback. I've also had some feedback where fans say it's just too much of a separation, of a distraction from what you did, but I wish you all the best. So with that in mind, the latter would be the case. Starting from the beginning is exciting, a newer audience.
Yeah.
I hope my old audience would get on board, because I am writing for them as well, not just for me and for a new audience. I owe everything to my past, because it gives you your future. So I think starting from the beginning feels right, and that's exciting because I don't know what's to come.
No, it's a good thing, it really is. And have you guys got plans already to start hitting the road, maybe supporting or doing your own little shows first? What's the scale of plan? Where are you going with it?
Yeah, so because the launch was successful, it's only been 5 weeks. We've being on the airwaves, we've attracted label attention already. So we're in the midst of putting a deal together to work on the next 12 months of putting more singles with an album. In 2023 start touring. So
beautiful.
It's been brilliant. You're calling me now, and I've just been on the phone an hour ago to a label that are interested, and it's exciting to get those calls, and it's exciting. So it's nice to be getting approached saying, "We like what you're doing again. Well done for dusting yourself off with it." And so we're just going to be careful there and make sure that we the next steps is the right steps. So yeah,
I was just going to say this. You're getting the attention. It's an amazing. And you've been around the block enough to know whether this is BS or not when people do approach you, and if they're in it for the right reasons. And obviously, you've just said you're going to take your time and pick out the things what's going to be good for you guys and the right choice, which is an amazing thing. And it's really, really exciting to see the project coming together and seeing the feedback from social media about your single, and just to see something fresh. And it's basically there. It says what it is on the tin. You've worked your backsides off for many, many years. You've stopped. You've taken time away, and you've had the balls and guts to come out and start getting the ball rolling again. And it's with hard work, and you are proof that can happen. And I take it that you've got more singles ahead of you ready to release, and look forward to it. So, what's the plan for the music wise? Are we going to get this album sorted out and get it launched? What's going to happen regarding this?
So depending on who what house who we home our material with, and I think me and Sam, I speak on behalf of Sam. We want to put a few more singles out. It's a complete. Again, that's a good question, because Federal Charm was album cycle. It was write, record, tour, and we did that every year, every 2 years. And I don't think with this one, the whole model of it feels different. We're just, like Sam said something quite important the other day. He said, focusing on a single musically instead of having been told you've got 12 songs to do now for an album. That's a different focus point. It's like you've got to focus on 11 tracks at once, and I always be used to that. But with this, what Sam and what we're talking about now is dropping a few singles to build up the momentum to show our sound and our growth earlier. But what is good is we're just focusing on that song, and that for me is good and a strange feeling at the same time. So I definitely think we're going to be putting an EP or an album out within the year, and the definitive idea is to definitely get on the road, but be strategic with that. We're both not in a position now where we're not in a position to. We can't sustain playing 150 shows a year crammed in a van. It's not something that is sustainable now. We want to take our time with the growth and try and build on it, not in a snail's pace, but in a strategic way.
No, that's great. It really is. I'm excited to see this get off the road, and see what happens, and see it all come together, because like you've just mentioned, it's great when you can just focus on that one thing because you can put your time in it. And then again, you don't have to overdo things and you don't have to over complicate things. Whereas with the album, sometimes, like you said, when you've got this pressure on to do so many songs, you're rushing the product and you don't want to because you want to make it as quality as you can. And it's great and it's brilliant that you've done that. And I love that you've got that reign right now and you've got the opportunity to do that before you do sign with the label because that's going to be happening. You can tell that right now what's going to be going down. But I've got to say thank you for joining me. And again, for everybody that is interested in this, all the social media pages are up and running. It's all the information's there. Your music's on the major airwaves. It's great stuff. Thank you for talking to me, Paul.
Nice one. Cheers. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling.